Welcome back to the Sidebar on the virtual GreenBiz 18 event. I am so honored to introduce our first interview this afternoon, Bob Langert. Bob is the former Chief Sustainability Officer of McDonald's, and of course he's awesome. Also one of my favorite columnists.
Yes.
Does a great 10 Minutes With Q&A series for GreenBiz, and Bob, thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be here, and I love being part of the GreenBiz group now.
So, yeah, it's awesome. So I have to. You just gave me a mind-blowing number. You have been focused on this field, this challenge, this opportunity for 30 years. Whoa! And you're at this event. You've been in this a long time. I would love to hear your sort of main takeaways so far. What's got you thinking and what's got the people around you talking?
Well, I tell you what, I hate to say I've been in it 30 years because I like to think I'm younger. But I mean, I was given this temporary environmental assignment when waste was hitting the fan for McDonald's back in 1988, and it's just mushroomed into something. So when I go to things like today, when I heard some of the things going on the main stage, I go, man, have we come a long way? And I'm not sure if everybody here knows that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting because there's so many young people now that are so
which is awesome.
Professional, which is one of the big changes. I mean, when I was starting, there wasn't a professional field of CSR and sustainability. Everything was kind of ad hoc. And now I look at these people at the same age I was 30 years ago, they're like 20 times better than me.
Well, speaking of better, you laid the groundwork for a lot of the work that McDonald's is doing, and I'm curious your thoughts on some of the things that they're focusing on now.
Well, I tell you what, I'm prejudiced, but I did like the main stage McDonald's Environmental Defense Fund session, and it really, I was getting goosebumps. And again, I was thinking, boy, how far they've come. Now, I look at McDonald's. They're not reacting to stuff anymore. I mean, most of my work, and I think a lot of people in the sustainability field, you go back 30, 20 years, you're reacting to stuff.
Right.
And now it's strategic.
Right.
These people, when I talk to them, I say, well, how do you spend your time? It's all strategic, thoughtful, planning ahead. It's much less reactionary. So that's a big change.
How would you be spending your time right now? Because there's so many, we've come so far, but there's so much to do. So how would you prioritize?
Big. And from the McDonald's stage.
Big what? Big goals?
Well, big goals. So when a McDonald's says, and that's what they're doing, and I love that. So they're getting into, where is the customer at for McDonald's and what's most important?
Yeah.
So when you start thinking of that, you say, you know what? It becomes pretty obvious. You're going to work on packaging and recycling. So what do they come up with? Rather than do 20 things, do 4 things big. And they set a really big goal to
100%.
Not only the packaging goal, but to me the more impressive part was we're going to have recycling in all the restaurants.
Yeah.
And as you know, recycling is very local, a lot of infrastructure,
really
dealing
hard.
with fast food waste, with different packaging and laminates and food waste. It's going to be a real challenge. So the fact that they're doing this and taking big, bold steps, and then working in collaboration as well. I mean, when we worked with the Environmental Defense Fund 30 years ago, it was big news. Fred Krupp, who the leader of the Environmental Defense Fund, he was painted almost like a traitor of the environmental movement by working with McDonald's because, believe it or not, that wasn't done back then. Now, today you'd say, well, that's sort of commonplace. But it was not at that time.
So interestingly, how things have changed, obviously. Now the economics are better for renewables. Now the infrastructure, because there's more demand from corporates and other communities locally, maybe even for more recycling or more things like that in terms of waste diversion. I mean, it's a different time now where maybe the glide path that maybe you helped to set.
It's totally a different time.
Yeah.
And you're talking from maybe a technical and the infrastructure viewpoint, but I'll say that it's also a hugely different time
culturally
from a culture consumer viewpoint.
Yeah.
We've studied at McDonald's. I don't think there's a company that studies the consumer more than McDonald's does. Maybe there is, but we study it very closely. We know how they feel, and they've always valued this, but now more than ever, it's tied to the business success.
Right.
Whereas before it was something nice to do, but now it's becoming way more necessary.
You have just 30 seconds left, but I know you're working on a big project. What's next for you?
Well, I got a book coming out at the end of the year, and I do want to pitch it a little bit because I'm taking this 30 years of all these ups and downs with McDonald's, and I'm writing a sustainability page turner.
Ooh,
Really.
Okay.
Now, what it is, so this is not your traditional, like, geeky sustainability book. I don't mean to be,
Yeah.
But the fact, this is storytelling.
Okay.
It's putting you inside McDonald's. When PETA's attacking us, how did we handle that? When Greenpeace says you're tearing down the rainforest in the Amazon, how did we react to that? What did we do? Where did we succeed? Where did we fail? This is a story I tell. I think it's going to be fascinating for the reader. And I wrote it for the future leaders.
Awesome.
Take these 30 years that we did, and you can do things better and quicker than I did.
Great. Well, I'm afraid we have to wrap up, but I am so looking forward to that book. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Heather and
Watch
Elaine.
for it.
Thank you.
Thanks
All right.
very much. Back to
A break, and then we'll
break.
be back with Emily Reichert from Greentown Labs.
thanks.